What's up, guys and girls? Hit pause. Welcome back to the next part of this tutorial. And in this part I was going to finish up the magazine here. So what I want to do is actually take the magazine and the bullet and basically get them kind of aligned here and just take a bit of a look at what we're seeing here. So I do have my magazine right here in front of me. You can hear it clicking, clicky, clicky. Okay. Again, I don't have any bullets in there, and looking at it facing the right direction, I can pretty much now see what this thing needs. So what I need to do is go ahead and just convert that here real quick. I'm going to connect that, and let's go by edge here, and looking at it, I need a section that pretty much matches the bullet, like right down the side here. And that starts yeah, it starts there. Okay, and then I need another segment. Let's go ahead and make it planar in the X here, and I'll do the same thing to this one. Okay. And this one goes to about there. Okay. And now what I need to do is, there is another segment on it, but I'm not going to worry about that because it doesn't really make any difference. So now I need to inset this guy, which is going to be very high value, and I need to keep it relatively low here. And what I need to actually do is take these here and extrude them up, but I'm gonna, in reality, this cuts like straight across right here and goes just about to the end. It's also actually a bit less, it's a bit thinner than this actually. It's more like that, and the thinner I go, the less that something like this is going to be noticed. So like I said, I need to take these here. Actually, to be honest, I don't need this segment, and I need to extrude this up. Okay, I'll just go by 0 so that I can kind of do it manually. Oops, I always forget that. And I need to scale this from the center. So it pretty much goes like that. And these are kind of like that. So what I'm actually going to do is take these and move them by edge because I don't want to break my linearity. And now I can't do that here because it's going to pull it down, right? So I just do like that. And that is honestly all it is. I do think, however, that it is for the bullet and not for the shell, so it actually starts. No, it's there. It's pretty much halfway through the thing. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and extrude this and bring it down. That way I can have multiple bullets here. Make that an instance, obviously. Okay, and then textured black in there, it's not going to show up. Now there is, like I said, this isn't great here because of the way that this comes to the corner, but really the fix would be for me to cut a segment down the edge here, and I honestly don't really care to do that, but there are some details on this beast that maybe I could use some geometry. So I'm going to go ahead and connect this and make it planar in the X. Boop. And then what I'm going to do is move it to about here. Actually, I need to move it. It's a little hard to see at this point. I need to move it until it hits that line there, pretty much. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is take these polygonals here and delete them. I'm not worried about quads on this. This I'm not even planning on no sculpting whatsoever on this at all. So let me go to the front view here. And what I need to do is grab these, but not these or these, and I need to make those planar in the X, not on edge. Just gonna keep it. Should be pretty tight already, so I'm not really worried about it. Okay, and now I can just take these two and bridge them. Did that not work? Okay, it doesn't like it for some reason. Oh, it's because I need to weld, because I got those together. So let me weld really quick. Just right click and then tap up to 0.001. Okay, now I think that it'll let me bridge. Yes. Rush. So then we do that, and we do that, and now I can pretty much just cap these. Again, I got triangles there. If I was thoroughly concerned about it, I would connect these two edges here. Okay, if I connected those, I'd have quads. But I don't care. And now, I want to make sure that that's even as possible. Like so. Now, like I said, this thing does have a couple of cool, well, I guess they're cool kind of details. I'll just give it a try and see what we're looking at. Let me just look at the total poly count, 116. I mean, I got some room, so I don't really care. So we'll do this, and then edge, and then make it planar, because I want it nice and straight. We'll move it to about here, and what the detail is kind of weird. I'm going to take both of these points, and I'm just going to try chamfering them just to see what I get. This is actually what it is. So after I've done that, what I want to do is connect it here and here. Now I'm holding control for that. Okay, and then if I take a look here, I can bring that down, and then I can take these up, staying on edge here. And that is actually pretty much how the detail is rolling on this thing. There's actually another one over here though, so I'll do the same thing. So I'll connect and then make planar. I'll pull that over to here, and if I'm looking at it this way, the mag's that side. Yep, I'm only going to do this side because I don't care about the other side. Just going to get these verts and chamfer those. Okay, once again I'm going to hold control with optimize selected and get the front and the back there. And now what I can do here is I can actually like take this guy's Z position and just paste that. Okay, same thing here, 2.99, and then paste that. Okay, and that pretty much adds the detail that I like. Now if I I can get a quad back there. Let's go ahead and isolate this guy. And I can get a quad here. I'm not going to be able to get quads really anywhere else. Like here, unless again I take these two and connect them. Okay, and then I could go across here. But again, I don't care. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, obviously it's more detailed than what I'm depicting here, but it's good enough. Actually, it's totally good enough. So I don't want to be on edge for this. I just want to make that, bring that up like so. So thicken that a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now let's look down the back. I mean, the back has some, it has like a thingy here. It's like not worth even making it, but I'll do it anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's just a kind of a trapezoidal thing here. I'm gonna click again in this without moving my mouse, and that will select through. Okay, so there's that feature here. It also has actually the same thing on the other side. So I'm just gonna grab the element here and flip it around. And in this case, there's actually two of them. One right down the middle. Now this is probably a complete waste of time, but there's also some relatively long channels poking through this thing. If I were to show you guys what it looks like, it's basically like that, booleaned out. I mean, that's all it is. But I don't think that's necessary because it's actually, that is the back. So you will see it. Alright, I'll do it. Let's do it. Let me undo that. Okay, so how far in? That's pretty much fine. What I'm going to do is hit this with symmetry in the X, and I'm just going to align the symmetry to this guy. Okay, and convert it. Take this guy, come over here to compounds, Boolean, pick operand B, and boom. Alright, let's convert that, and now we'll go back to optimize, and okay, see how it did that? It's like it doesn't know where to re-triangulate the rest of it. A lot of times you have to hit like a corner first, and then usually it's safe. See, after that it's safe. Control Alt to get rid of that. Okay, it's not wanting to. Sometimes it doesn't want to do the connection, so you can just select 2 points and hit connect. Unfortunately, that does leave me, if I look at here and I check this, it does leave me with some odd triangles slightly left over, but I think it's actually okay. To be honest, as long as I triangulate them myself, should be fine. And that's it. That's all I need to do. So she's about ready here to, I mean, I still have to do the trigger. That's like the last thing I have to do. And again, I could do more to the scope if I really wanted to. Oh, one of the things I did want to do to the scope, however, is make a dupe as an instance. I'm going to move it forward come here, and what I want to do is take this shape here and bring it up like so, and I'll actually center it on this guy in only the X to the center. I think that'll do it. Yep. Okay, and then if I look at symmetry, oh, I blew it. I totally blew it. I don't want a instance actually. You know what? The hell with it. Trying to think what's the best way to do this, because I want to get these screws here, but I want them to be instances, but it doesn't. Yeah, I kind of do want them to be instances, but I have two of them now, so if I make it an instance, I end up with issues. Now, I didn't actually unwrap this yet, so it's kind of not a big deal, but what I'm going to do is this instead. I am just going to manually instance these beasts so that I remain instanced like that. Okay, I will pivot to center there. I don't have to be exact or nothing, but you know, just want to be close enough. So at least there's some details on it. Like I said, nothing spectacular or anything like that. Now, what I do want to do here is just at least have something here. It looks like it should kind of wrap around this thing. I may even try this. Actually, here, I'll just do this. Grab this edge. Okay, if I'm going to do that, I need to cut this one more time. That should have given me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. It should have given me 8. Yep. Okay. And I can just bridge those together. Now, I think that failed. Nope, it cut it clean. I thought maybe it did a... Sometimes it can twist them up, act weird. And then what I want to do to this guy is, because this is like what's going to be pretty close to your camera, I'm actually going to ring this and then go to modeling, loops, and flow connect. It makes a little bit of a rounded corner there, curve. It makes it just look a hair nicer. Doesn't add a ton or anything, so. Okay, and lastly, just going to add a box here. Now I'm going to just, you know, I drew it on the surface, so that makes it so that if I didn't do that, it would, and I tried to draw it here, you can see where it would draw it way over there, you know. So doing it like this just kind of helps that regard. So let's zero that out, move that down. Okay, I'm going to convert. Just going to get these faces here and then hit Control I so I get that bottom face down there and delete it. Hit 2 and just drag across and connect. I'm going to move this forward, grab these points and move them down. Okay, so a bit of an aim point in case we decide to have a non-scoped version. That ought to do it. I'm also going to take, even though this is not in the camera, I'm going to do this anyway because it is more accurate. And let's go ahead and do the trigger. Okay, the reason I rotated it was so that it's centered, because otherwise it was going by the height. So let's convert that. And let's connect this with 4 segments. And what I'll do first is hit it with a taper. Okay, I gotta check which axis. It can act funny sometimes. You gotta find the right combo of axes here, which can be slightly daunting. Or not daunting as much as like irritating in a sense, because you like, which one is the right way, you know? So when taper does that, sometimes I'm just like, okay, well, let me go ahead and reset the X form and get rid of any rotations and then try it, because it's kind of like doing it like on its own set of axes. It's also not doing it from the center. So before I do that, I could also center here, and actually I can align it to pivot to the maximum of Z. Okay, and what that will do is help me with the taper start from the right point. Also the bend will start from the right point too, so it was pretty important that I do that. See, that's a little bit more like what I wanted, but I actually don't want it to taper inwards. I want the Z, but I only want the X. There we go. That's what I want right there. Okay, it's not like I couldn't have done that myself. I could have. It would have been easier for me to just scale these points here together before I cut in the segments. It would have been the same thing, but who cares? Don't make a difference. I didn't have to collapse that taper in, by the way, but it doesn't matter. I just wanted to get rid of that cap. And now I hit it with the bend. Okay, so let's put it where it needs to be. And let's go here and hit 4, Control A. I'll go ahead and show this. And what I want to do is actually pick myself here and go from my own pivot point, so that I can match that better. And now what I'll do is I'll take this and bring it back, and this should allow me to get the bend to fit a little bit better. Okay, so it'll be like that, so it matches the curve in a sense, not perfectly or nothing. Okay, and there's our trigger. It's real simple. Like I said, there's nothing to it. Don't need anything to it. And that is it. Dun, 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 dun. So, now, if we take a look at the unwrap here, you can see I still have a bunch of parts broken up. Some of them got a little squirreled out. Okay, some of them did. You can see that I've got some faces that are like in the middle here. Good lord. So I'm just going to detach those. Anywhere I see these like totally broken faces, kind of doesn't like want to allow me to move this, so I need to go to this tool here. Okay, so just hit Control D on all these. These are basically things that I cut and extruded and did, so it's gonna be broken, and you should just expect it. But again, it ain't that bad. So what I can also do is actually use the model here. So let me isolate it. Isolate keys down there. And I'll just detach all that, get it out of here. I don't care what happens to those pieces of geometry or nothing. The trigger was totally new. I want to not be on ignore back facing, by the way. Oops. You can see that. Okay. This was all new. If I grow that one time, you can see that it's isolated up there, so that's fine. Let's see if there's anything else that looks weird. Okay, that definitely needs to be detached as well, because that was a new... Okay, so I'm going to grab this and just kind of take a quick peek and see if... Just going to hit these whole entire elements and just take a peek to see if it's grabbing anything I don't want it to get. Which it looks okay, I think, for now. My shapes, I can kind of tell just by looking at it, there's like no other overlapping stuff in there. So this is my originals here, and they're okay. However, they're not in the right shape anymore. Now I have a face here, but I believe... So what I need to do is actually re-peel these things, okay? And I might as well show my checker here. Now this has some kind of extra face going on right there. I think it's these super thin edges. So if I peel that, I need to figure out... Oops, I wasn't looking at that on screen, but see, I'm looking at this polygon right here. And I don't actually... Oh, there you are, you beastie. Okay, so I'm going to detach that, not delete it. And then what I want to do is get these, okay, and then I'm going to stitch them together. Alright, and I can peel that. And it does get that hyper thin edge on there, but that's okay. Let's see what this piece is. Because remember, I unwrapped this, then I subdivided it. So my subdivision smoothed the polygons. I need to make sure that my unwrap is at least addressed. You know, I mean, I need to... Because you can actually tell that it's not straight anymore. You can see curvature and weirdness, but if I hit peel on it, you can see it fixes that. So it's very nice. Peel's a great tool. It fails sometimes. It gets confused, but for the most part, it works out okay. Okay, here's the channel here. So with all that done, I'm just going to hit peel on that again one more time. So each piece should be now officially done, and you can tell, you know, it doesn't do anything anymore, so it figured it out as best as it could. So these pieces are good, and these pieces are great. These pieces are wonderful. I can tell what the hell's going on in them. Okay, so this, what I'm going to do is go planar here in the Y. Okay, and you can see that that's what it did. And if I try to peel it, it's not going to work. It's going to break. It doesn't know what to do. So what I actually need to do is like this. Actually go back to ignore backfacing and deselect all this stuff. Okay, and if I look at it like this, I can do blanket grabs and still maintain this piece. See what I'm saying? So I detach that. Okay. And then I grab these guys and get rid of the bad selection from the other side. Okay, and detach that. Now this whole piece should peel out okay now. Should is the key word here. Okay, so this guy here, just going to grow that. I'm going to do planar in the Z. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select each of the inside corners and make them a edge. And now peel it. And it opens it up just like that. Okay. I'm going to hit this face here and ring that. Boom. And then I can come over to here and go select convert edge to polygon. Okay. And then I just want to add these and these to it because there's no reason not to. So hit Z there and then peel it. It's done. Okay. Doing the planar of the Z basically kind of just, you know, consolidated them into one shape. You know, in essence, you can see that they're broken up here. Okay, I could stitch them together, but it kind of acts funny. If you do this, it's like an auto stitch in essence. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, the quick way to select this one is just going to be to grow it and then get rid of it. Okay, planar in the Z. Alright, it doesn't know exactly what to do because it doesn't know how to ring the whole thing, so I'm just going to give it a help by breaking it. Okay, and now it knows what to do. Let's take a look. What are we looking at here? Okay, this guy can be planar in the Z and then peeled. Okay, and then you're looking at, if you're looking at it like this, you can see what that is. Okay, that's the flat part. And then the sides, it's got a little warp in it, but it's pretty inconsequential, I'd say. It's due to the bend here, this bend going down. And to be honest, that's like it. So it should be good now. Let me hit F4 here. Also F2. And I can hide the map seams and the peel seams. Okay, F2, by the way, is show selected faces or not. F4 is just wireframe, or, you know, edged faces over shaded. And I'm just looking for any like mega missing stretch, crazy, weird crap that I might have missed, and it doesn't look like I did. Good deal. Okay, the barrel, I might as well unwrap the barrel before I, well, kind of a question. Do I want to unwrap it and then shell it? I kind of think I do want to do that. Now if I go to the shell here, one of the things I can do is override the edge material to make that edge material ID2. So what I can do now is do that, select one of these guys, select that ID and just delete it, grab this element, hit Control I, let's go ahead and isolate so we can see what's going on. So I've selected the whole interior and I just, or did I? Oh yeah, I have those, I had the remember I split, the reason that happened was because I have two elements here, I split it off, right? So I only selected this one and did Control I, that's why it grabbed everything. Okay, now I can unwrap this. Now, I do want to give a warning, 3D Studio can and will fail on a cylinder that has a hole cut out of it. I've seen it before, it may not do it here, because it doesn't always do it, but because this is like slightly irregular, it is known to do that. Okay, so now that I get those warnings out of the way, let's hit it with the unwrap. Okay, you can see the hole's already there. That's what she said. Alright, and then we're going to come here and we're just going to grab these. Now I'm going to hit F2 so I can see what I'm grabbing. And I'm going to detach it and show checker and try to peel it. And it didn't fail. Good. Sometimes it will do this thing where I'll try to kind of simulate it, but it's like these are all collapsed into like one thing and they're way over here in the end of the universe, you know, and it just happens. I don't know why. Okay, grab the rest here like so, just detach it, Control D. See, there it is. See what I'm talking about? It's like, whoa, what's going on? Whoa, it doesn't know what to do. It's so weird, right? So, and that's not even like the part of the cylinder that would like make sense that it would have, you know, an issue. So you can try to fix it sometimes by cylindrically wrapping it beforehand. And I'm gonna go down the X here and then peel it, and it still doesn't know what to do. So, like I said, the peel in 3D Studio Max, while being generally a great tool, has its problems, and I couldn't tell you what the problem is. It could be, however, it could be that this thing needs to be reset in the X form. Okay, so I'll try that. That has been known to freak the thing out. So now if I peel it, no, see, it just flattened it all into one hyper thin line. No matter how close I get, it's totally screwed. Okay, so it simply doesn't know what to do. So what I could also try is to get rid of the conal part of it and peel that, and then come with this part and see. I mean, that's just a cylinder, guys. You know, I mean, I don't want to complain, but I'm gonna complain. Like, that is a cylinder. Okay, that's all it is. There's nothing to it. There is no reason whatsoever. So like maybe no, planar map ain't gonna work. There's honestly absolutely no reason whatsoever that this cylinder freaks out. So if I take this one and I hit it with a cylinder and I do it by X here, one of the things that doing this new affords me is I can reassign the seam, because the seam is going to show up as a green line. Okay, you can see it there. And it's going to be much better if I put the seam on the bottom. Okay, now one of the things you'll notice too is that the green line, it's kind of hard to tell, but the green line actually is extending this way. It's unwelded these verts for some weird reason. Okay, so if I look at the output here, you can actually see that here that they're green and that they're unwelded, but it's quite simple. You can just select all the verts on the thing, just say Control W and then peel. Okay, so now my seam is on the bottom, which is much more desirable. So I'm going to redo this piece and do the same thing. So X, and then rotate it until the seam is at the bottom. Okay, and it's kind of wanting to see. I think part of the problem is the way that the seam, actually, you know what, I didn't get the whole thing. That's part of it too. Gotta come off of the mapping type there. Okay, so there's the seam. Let's reopen the window here. Okay, and what I'll do again is, you can see here, broken. So we just hit Control W with everything selected, and there's a chance it might peel fine now. I said chance. I didn't say it was going to, and it didn't. It's broke, you know. Other programs like Unfold 3D, Head SUV, and stuff like that, and even Max's own just, you know, simple cylindrical method doesn't, you know, is fine. So I'm gonna manually make this square myself, which means that most likely only part of it is gonna be, oops, part of it's gonna be good. And like I said, it's kind of frustrating here working in this really low res for the screen capture. Yeah, you can see how these are collapsed. So this actually needs to come out a little bit, and then these need to go in just a little bit because it's not, I went a little too far on my scaling. So that seems close enough. And now this piece here is what is left over on the, if I hit Z on the model, is this ring. So I can just planar X and then peel that, and that's fine. Now if I hit Control A and I do rescale elements, this can break too, since this thing is all glitched out. But it didn't, so I'm happy. Okay. Now one of the things you'll notice is that, like, packing everything in here, I can't really get that good of a packing. I can't make it as large as I want because this is one super long piece, and that's the best that it can do. Like, it cannot be split up. So sometimes, by sometimes I mean right now, you're going to want to actually just go ahead and manually cut it. Do you add polygons? Absolutely. But do you clean up the lighting and the ability to paint on it and stuff like that? Yes. Yes. Okay, so I am going to do that. I can remove them. Okay, now that I've beaten the dogs to death, we can come back. And now what I can do is I can say, hey, you know, oops, I want to be on the whole thing. I kind of want to split this thing up. Okay, and then I can take like this piece here and detach it. Now when I pack it up, you see how much bigger everything is. Detach that, Control A, boom, gets even bigger. Get rid of this, Control A, boom, gets even bigger. Okay, of course we got seams running down the line here, but keep in mind, keep it in mind, we are painting the model. Now, the other thing to keep in mind though is that two things. Number one, I'm gonna only have one texture for this whole gun, not including the scope. The scope's going to be its own texture because I plan to make it so you can take it off and put a different one on there, or have the gun with no scope. But it's still got to fit the barrel with the mag, the bullet, the stock, and that's it pretty much. I mean, any other little incidentals. So given that, that's point number one. So I can't have the barrel be this unwrapped this big anyway. It's pointless anyway, okay? But the other thing is that when you do UDK, when you do your materials, I could show this, but I'm not going to. I'll just explain it. When you have a reflection, like a cubic reflection map on a surface of a model, you assign it as a texture, but then you also assign a reflection vector, and then you have to do a reflection transform, or a vector transform, on the UVs of that in order for it to wrap properly around the model. Now, in theory, what that should do is translate that cube map directly to only the normals of the model, which essentially it would be defined as world space vector normals. However, that does not work as it should. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just blurt it out. It's a bug. The reflection has seams and is cut off, at your UV seams. Right here, the reflection will have a seam, even though it's not mapping the reflection to your UVs. Apparently it is, okay, even though it shouldn't be. So wherever you have a seam on a reflective surface in UDK, and I don't believe this is true for UE4, and it's certainly not true in 3D Studio Max, it's certainly not true in Unity, and it's certainly not true in, I think, just about every other application in the universe except for UDK. Now if you just said, hey, my reflection is just mapped to my unwrapped texture and it's just an image, it's just my diffuse channel, yeah, I'd expect seams where the UVs are, right? Everybody would. But a reflection vector should not do that, but it does. And given that it does, undo. Okay? And I keep it all one piece. Again, the other reason, so I got two reasons. Number one, my reflection is going to get effed. It's going to get effed in the B hole. Two, I gotta map this with the rest of the gun anyway, so who gives a crap. However, the other reason, now you would think, oh, well, if you're not going to split it, then why cut the segments? There's a reason for doing this anyway. There's good news and bad news. The bad news is, I already highlighted this in the video, Mudbox F's up on really thin, long polygons. It doesn't know how to bridge them. It almost needs to associate the vertices and cross segments to properly put down the paint. If I tried to paint right in the middle of a really long cylinder, the hidden edge here that goes between the two diagonal points, okay, like if I take a look here, okay, there's a diagonal that runs between any thing that cuts it into the triangles, right? The paint program Mudbox will stop right here, and until your actual registration point, the center of your brush, crosses over, then it will try to start painting again. But given that there's spacing and slight delays and whatnot, you end up with this really ugly, like, vertical broken lines on your paint job. The only way to, now here's the thing, if I paint right around here, the paint's going to apply perfectly. Now I can draw whatever I want. I can draw all kinds of happy face. I can use a very feathered brush. It isn't going to make any difference. But in between here, it is not going to work. It's going to break right here until it gets close enough here within some kind of tolerance. I don't even know what it is. So what I do is I tend to, now in this case, I'm actually going to go even worse. I tend to actually take the segments and I cut them up into about 50. Okay, which is going to boost my polygon count to 12, 15,000. But I have segments like really tight here. So when I go to paint them, it's the paint drops down perfectly. And then all I got to do, but the thing is, you got to remember, is that this is just a solid cylinder here. So all I got to do is just take all those segments and remove them when I'm done painting. And then I'm back to low res. My paint was applied perfectly. No harm, no foul. The only thing is if I take these and I break them in the UVs, okay, I can no longer remove this edge. So if I break this up into, like, 18 parts in the UVs, I cannot remove the edge. As soon as I do remove the edge on the model, the UVs are just going to go and they're going to crap all over my chest. And it's going to be warm and gross. It's going to suck. So the approach I'm taking here is the optimal approach for what I do. I cut it up into about this many, and when I do finally get it into Mudbox, I also subdivide the model quite heavily in order to just make sure that there's enough polygons to make sure that that weird glitchy bug is addressed. Because like I said, Mudbox for some reason requires cross sections, even though, like I said, it's a poly painting program. It's not that smart. It cannot tell you basically this point right here is this point on the UVs. It looks at this point here and it says where's the closest point on the UVs, and then says, okay, I'm about that far away or something. But then, like, the floating point precision gets all borked. So like I said, before I cut these segments, the nearest, and I went down the middle, the nearest point is way the hell over here or way the hell over here. Mudbox just can't figure it out. Whatever their algorithm is, can't figure it out, and it sucks. But in general, it's still a great program. But I just want to point that out, that there's a reason. There's multiple reasons why cylinders are hard, especially really long, thin ones. They may not be long, but they sure are thin. So I'm going to leave it at that after that explanation. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that might be a little confusing. This one is going to give me the exact same problem. I will not be able to paint right here cleanly. It just won't happen. But the good news is that I can cut the segments in later after I've unwrapped it. It doesn't make a difference how many I cut in after the fact. So let's just go ahead and unwrap it like normal. So I want to take that and make that planar. Let's go ahead and throw our checker pattern on here. Hit it with the peel. It should work. I didn't anticipate any bugs there. Let's take these here. Hit those planar. Okay. And then I'm just going to take these two edges and create a seam there. And I should be able to peel that clean. Nice and clean. Okay. I'm going to actually go by angle here, so I can just click that. And I'm going to do planar again. Peel it. Should fix it. Okay. Let's get the front. Front's already done, so I'm just going to make sure I hit Control D and just move it out of the way. I could hit peel, but it's already a perfect circle. It doesn't make a difference. Okay. Now what I want to do is get those. And what I'm going to do here is actually going to grow this twice. And that'll allow me to remove that and remove that. Okay. I really don't care where the seam is on this thing, but I'll hit it on the bottom anyway. I'll hide it as much as I can down here. I just want to rotate it until I only see one green line, which I think I see two. Okay, right there. No, I still see two. Okay. Take this over to here, grab it all, and just Control W, and let's pray. Yeah, it did a good job. See? Same thing. It's a cylinder. Didn't break. Didn't break. You got me as to what goes on there, but it goes on. So just keep that in mind. Here I'm just going to hit this planar. I don't really care what angle I used. And I just want to cut these with a edge. Now it's not going to work perfect because I have this weird curve here. You can't actually unfold this kind of shape cleanly without having a crimp. Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't fully know what to do. It's not perfect. It's got a bit of a kink right there, but paint will apply fine. Alright, and let's see what we're left over with. Alright, it looks like this piece here. So let's go that, and we'll do the X. And actually, let's do it to get the seam down here. Okay, actually, I need to... Looking at the model over here, you can see I've got a break. Actually, that makes sense because it's this piece that's cut out, so I'm fine. And let's peel and pray. Looks good. Alright, everything looks good. Just hit OK and hit peel. And then pack. So let's just go ahead and move it out of the way. So I'm going to attach this later. Alright, so that one's done. Paint will apply pretty okay on there. Let's get this piece. I don't think I unwrapped this yet. Let's open the UV editor. Nope, you can see it's completely borked, so that's okay. Let's just we'll just start with that. Okay, we'll hit planar. I need to see this side. Planar in the Z, and then peel it. Seems fine. I'll go ahead and tell this thing to use angle, so I can just click that. Okay. Planar once again. God damn it. Planar X. Okay. Peel. Looks fine. Let's grab this. Okay, it's going to be planar Z peel, and looks fine. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to grow that one time. It's so friggin' irritating sometimes having to. And I'll just get rid of that. Maybe I can make this smaller. Okay, we'll hit planar in the X. Peel it. It's not going to be perfect. Oops, I didn't want to pack it. I want to peel it. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be good enough. Alright, we'll do the same thing here. Okay, we'll grow that and get rid of these. And that looks like exactly what I want, so planar in the X and peel. Looks fine. Okay, I need to come off an angle here because it's you know, that was a far cry from 0 degrees, folks. You know, it's more like at least 5. So we'll take that, and what I'll do is I'll just do planar in the Z, and then peel it, and it should fix it. Okay, I'll do the same thing here. Now I'll go on ignore back facing so that it's easier for me to get rid of the selection. And same thing again. Boom. Okay, and now what I'm left with is this stuff here. Okay, I'm just going to go planar in the Z and peel it and see what we get. Should be okay. Alright, what's this? Okay, this is this ring segment. Let's just see if peeling it cleans it up. Not perfectly. You can see it's not really. So let's go planar in the Z and then try the peel. Yeah, it's not loving me. So I need to actually make it longer, and I'll make it smaller overall, holding Control and Alt, by the way. So we'll say about there is fine. Alright, get that out of the way. What's this? This should have been part of this. So let's go planar in the Z again and peel. I think I missed some. I did. Crapsicola. Okay. Boom, boom, and then boom. So it just adds it there. It's fine. Let's see, what is this? Okay, so we'll do this planar in the X. Peel that, and then what is this? What is that, like the other half of this thing? Just take that, and I'm just going to stitch them. And then I'm going to peel that. And again, it's going to have to be scaled out a little bit. That's about right. This guy actually kind of needs to be scaled in a little bit. His appeal kind of didn't know what to do, so that looks like it. So let's just make them all the same size. Let's hit F2, F4, and hide all the seams. Just take a look. Got an issue here. Got an issue here. Both of these two, I could have swore I peeled them. I'm just going to try Control A and peel. It's probably going to break all kinds of stuff. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, let's resize them again. Got an issue here. You can see that is not squares. So, you know, peel being a good tool, some cases being slightly a great tool, a lot of times can be a terrible tool. Like it has been known to suck at what it does. These are this I kind of expect it to be weird, but and it's inside the thing, so I don't really care. So I'm just going to pack them all together and get them out of the way. Okay, don't type on that anymore. Okay, what the hell? Control Shift P. There we go. God damn it. Alright, and what's next? This guy here. I'm actually gonna make this a little bit thicker before I move on. So I want this to be just view and center, and whoa, I'm on edge here. Like that. And I'm actually going to extend it just a little bit longer as well. Which means I'm no longer going to be like mathematically perfectly centered, but meh, who cares? Don't really matter. It's good enough. Looks fine. Okay, just a little bit bigger. I don't want that to be an issue. People think it's too small or anything like that. Yes, somebody did say that, so that's why I'm fixing it. Alright, and let's unwrap it real quick. Should be quick. Let's see if it breaks. It did great. But it didn't do horrible. You can see that the polys are alright. The only thing is I need to take this edge here, ring it, select, convert edge to polygon, and just go planar here, and then a peel should fix it. Alright, there we go. And now I should be able to peel this. Now there is an issue here. Okay, you can see that these are not welded. If I hit Control W, it doesn't weld them all. The reason is because this one's actually too far out of tolerance, so I just gotta move it closer. Same thing here, so just move it closer and weld it. And that should be fine. And now I can repeel it, and it'll give me a slightly different shape. Okay, done. Actually, let's resize it, pack it, and move it out of the way. Okay, collapse 2. Let's get our sphere. Don't fear the sphere, and then let's check the unwrap. Now the unwrap for a sphere actually comes in as like spherical unwrap, which is like this. Which is kind of nothing wrong with it, to be honest. It does kind of work, but sometimes, like if I hit F2 here, let's isolate this guy. Sometimes it depends on what you really want to do, because if you look at the checker, okay, it's kind of borked, and if I try to actually do the peel on it, it can't do it. It can't figure it out. It doesn't know how to relax everything and average everything. If I were to give, you know, peel any shies about, you know, what it's doing wrong, it's like it's forcing a little bit too much. So I'm just gonna hit planar here and then peel those. Now even this is still not gonna peel great. Like you can see how the major difference here between the top and the side, it's totally borked. So what I tend to do on spheres is just fix them until they're kind of squarish, and then just walk away and say, you know, well, what are you gonna do? Not a lot. So let's just go ahead and take those, pack them together, and I'll just move that out of the way and collapse 2. Alright, and I have to do the mag and the scoop. Okay, so let's do the mag. Go ahead and isolate that. Take a quick look. Should be relatively simple, I hope. I got an edge here I don't need. Alright, let's unwrap this beast. Okay, this is another way of doing this whole thing, by the way. You just start with flattened mapping, and you get, you know, semi-decent results, but sometimes, you know, it's not always good enough. For instance, you get like a lot of bits and pieces that, you know, get separated off the model. They could be kind of, you know, just simply stitched back together. But what you can do is just select the two faces that you want to stitch, and then hit this stitch custom button over there. And it does a pretty good job. Tends not to fail, unlike some other processes that tend to fail. This and this, I'm going to grow these. Beesh. Okay, and then I'm going to make those planar in the X, and I'm going to do a quick peel on them here. And what I'll do is ring those and just go select convert edge to polygon. No, actually I don't want to do that. I don't know why I did that. I don't need to do that. I just need to convert those to seams, and then boom. See? Straightens it nicely. Alright, now those little bits I don't have in the scene. For some weird reason, Max decided to... Oh, I guess not. I guess that's inside. But as you zoom out, you kind of, the floating point precision's kind of screwing with me here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these guys minus this one, keep that one separate, and I'm going to stitch those together. Okay, and you can see that that actually put that together. And then I'll grab these and do the same thing. Okay, so just kind of combine stuff. Okay, you can also take sometimes you can get away with doing like that, as long as I don't pick the side faces as well, it won't try to stitch them. Okay, you can see that that's going to be much nicer for me to deal with. Let's see, what is this piece here? Could probably stitch that to here. Okay, and then this piece and this piece can be stitched, and then this and this can be stitched, and just combine that. So this is like another way to do it. You know, it gets all the pieces out, and you don't even really need to peel that much. I mean, you do if it's organic, but in this case, I don't really need to do it. Okay, there's that, there's that. Okay, what's this piece here? That one's really got nowhere to go, but I could stitch it to here because, like, kind of who cares for the most part. It's going to work fine. I think that's about all I really need to do. So I'll just go ahead and rescale them, pack them, and move them. Alright. I'm going to hide this. So what I'll do here is just unwrap these real simply, open UV editor. Let's just go to mapping, flatten mapping, OK. And what I'll do is stitch here, because you can see which ones get highlighted with a blue edge. Okay. Now this and this cannot stitch unless I detach that, that, and that. Okay, so now I can take that and stitch them. Okay, and then I can take that and stitch it. You see what I'm saying? It makes life a little easier. Okay, stitch them separately. Don't try to do them all at once. The other way obviously would have been to just flatten mapping the whole thing and mark these seams and just let it go. Okay, so just pack these together. I'm actually going to preemptively shrink that down quite a bit because I know for a fact it ain't going to be that big. That's it. That's all I really need to do. Okay, this guy. And this guy. Whoa. Let me make sure I got rid of that bottom face, and I did. So what I'm actually going to do here is attach these real quick. And then unwrap that. And pop that open. And these are going to be kind of broke, so I'm going to go ahead and isolate it. And I'll do the same method. Control A, mapping, flatten mapping. Boom. Okay, and let's just go ahead and let's do it by individual faces. This one might not work. Yeah, see, it doesn't like that, which makes sense. I mean, it's not going to, but I can take these and stitch them, and these, and these. Okay, oopsie. And now I can take these two and probably stitch these, no problem. Okay, and the same thing here. And that's fine. Alright. So the other one here, so I'll take that stitch, stitch, stitch and stitch. Okay, and now same thing, take this one and stitch them, and this one and stitch those. And there's those two pieces. And if I peel it, not big difference. Okay, so I'll just pack them together. Again, preemptively strike these down to quite small, move them out of the way, collapse 2. Alright, so on isolate. Let's get the trigger. Trigger ought to be easy as well. Not super easy. I don't mean it's not going to be super easy. It is going to be super easy. The only thing I may want to do is stitch these kinds of things together. Okay, there is actually no way for me to cleanly attach this to these because the curve is going to make it impossible. So just peel them, just get Control A, peel them, pack them. I'll actually go ahead and organize it a little bit. Shrink it down because I know it's too big. Put it over there. Now, good news for these guys is that they're all going to be done basically the same, so they actually are all going to be identical. I'm only going to paint one of them. Okay, so all I got to do is get this guy, and I should be able to peel it, and it should flatten that down. And it looks like I never got rid of the bottom face. Now I can't just collapse. If I do Control Shift P, it turns it into an edible polygon. But what you'll notice is that I have, if I take this, this one didn't get collapsed, but this one did. So what you want to do instead is collapse 2, and that maintains the it stays a an instance. So let's just get rid of that face because we don't need it, and then we'll reapply, reopen. Okay, just come here. Where am I here? Okay. So what I'm going to do is grab all these and then grow that one time, and just going to go planar. Okay. Oops. And then peel that. Alright. And now I'm just going to select one of these and figure out which one it is, and we'll just put that together and peel that. I didn't like that. Okay, so let's not. I think part of the reason for that is that these are like drastically different sizes. So now if I do that, just figure out what face it is, I should be able to stitch it in. Alright. And then again, collapse. Well, actually, before I do that, let's just move it out of the way. Alright. Same thing with this one. This one is an instance. If I move this point, you can see it moves over there too. So I only got to do one of these. So let's unwrap this guy. Okay, Control A. Let's start with the flatten mapping method. Alright, we'll take that, stitch them. That, and stitch them. Stitch those, stitch those, stitch those and those. Okay, we'll take these two and stitch those together, and then these two and stitch those together, and stitch those together. I can't stitch this to this. That wouldn't make. If I did, I wouldn't be able to do the other way. stitch that together, that, and that. Okay, is anything else I should be doing? Let's go ahead and isolate. I can pretty much get these together, so I'll start here and here, and I can only do one side of this. Okay, so I just basically got to pick a side. Okay, this isn't right. All of these here need to not be on that. Okay, I think it came in. I think these were originally together, so that's why it ended up stitching them all together. Oops. So I just hit, select them all and just hit Control D. Make sure I hit Control D when I'm highlighted over here, and I'm fine. Okay, there's nothing really stopping me from taking these two and putting them together. Isn't going to make a difference. And now the only thing I'm looking at here are these. Now these can't really stitch together very easily, so I'm not gonna. Resize, pack, and just move it out of the center. Okay, collapse 2. Remember, not collapse all or not convert, just collapse 2. Okay, this one a little irritating, to be honest. Not irritating, just it's gonna take a minute. So we'll unwrap this. Boom, boom. Let's go ahead, and I'm kind of not wanting to. You can see that obviously the unwrap is totally broke. The reason that this one's going to be slightly frustrating is because there's no real good way to make a global selection here. It's best for me to just bite the bullet and just hold Control and just click away. Okay, I don't want to select these as well because it's going to make an unorthodox connection right there. So I'm just going to hit this planer in the Z and then peel it. Actually, I'm not going to peel it. I'm going to show my checker pattern, and I'm going to manually scale it down. Okay, I'll boost it up so I can see it cleanly, because the peel is going to get rid of like this. I might want to keep this nice format, this nice formation. Okay, now this, I might be able to get away with a little bit of a trick. If I hit grow here, nope, it went this way. See, it joined these. That's annoying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily do this. I'm going to do view right here, and what I want to do is I want to get all of these polygons here, and I just want to detach them as an element. Okay, and I can go back to my unwrap, and hopefully just hit Control I. Whoa. Click on here to hit Control I. What I'm going to do here. Okay, I don't want that selection. I'm going to move this out of the way temporarily so I can see my screen. I'm going to come off of ignore back facing. I'm going to hit right here so I get all of that stuff. And then I'm going to deselect that over here. And that gives me these sides, right? And now I can add these. And do a planer in the Z. And hopefully peel will help me. It's going to probably, if I just pack them all together. No, Oh, because it's a separate element, I can't. So I kind of blew it. Okay, let me undo that. I've got the selection, which is nice. Okay, so I just weld it all back. Okay, so I've got that selection. I don't want that edge. I don't want that edge. And now let's try that again. Might not work. Okay. You can see that it's like arranged them all stupid, but at least they're together. Right? That's the best you can hope for. Alright, so now what do we got here? These, I believe, are the endpoints. So I'm going to add these to them, and I'm going to go planar in the X, actually. Peel that. Okay. And now I should be left with just this bottom here. So same thing, planar in the Z, and peel. Now what I'm going to do is I actually want to rotate this until I get it as straight as I possibly can. Then I'm going to hit the straighten tool. Now I'm going to peel it again after I've straightened it. And then I'm going to straighten it again, peel it again. I do that back and forth sometimes just to hopefully get a cleaner arrangement of it. Now these, the thing is what I could have done if I really wanted to was just unwrap one small piece of this thing, like this section here, and then duped it down the line so that I only have to paint the one. But the thing about doing that is that they're going to be identical in form. I can't put a nick on this one that isn't going to be on this one, so the tiling will actually show up quite bad, which in essence, in the end, it would be like this, you know, taking them all and putting them all in the same spot. But I don't really want to do that. I do want to do resize, and if I hit packing now, it's going to break this, but I'm painting on the model, not on the UVs, so I'm just going to go for it. Doesn't make a difference. So we're going to collapse 2 there. And I'm not exactly sure what's left. Oh, yep, the scope itself. Oh, baby. The fun one. So let's go ahead and open the UV editor. I'm going to take this face and detach it. Take this face and detach it. Okay. That leaves me with this. Let's isolate. So what I'm going to do is, this is not entirely going to work. I'm going to hit it with cylindrical in the X. Okay. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I want to get the seam on the bottom. Okay. So I can move this out of the way. And again, you'll see here that there's verts. I can prove it actually. Just grab one and move it. There's verts that are unwelded. So we just weld those back together. Now a peel is it's not going to do great. It's not going to do horrible, but it's not going to do great. It's going to do a lot more great. More great is a real term that idiots use, and it's going to do much better here. You see what I'm saying? If I split that. Now this is actually also going to do much better, to be honest, if I split that. And now, honestly, it's just going to be flawless. Okay. Notice how this became a curve, and that is actually what it needs to be in order to unwrap that. Alright. What am I left with here? Okay, I'm left with this here, so let's just go planar in the X. Peel it. Oh, didn't like peeling that. Oh, the reason for that is because I have a cylindrical ring that I need here. So I'm just going to select one edge, ring it, go over here, select convert edge to polygon. Okay, not planar, but cylindrical. And the seam on this one, I actually want to be on the inside here, on the inside left. Oh, the dogs are going to go ballistic. I gotta pause it. Okay, and now you can see that the green line is right there. It might be hard to see on the video, but it is there. And let's see what we get when we peel it. Looks good. I don't see any green lines on the interior of this, so that's that. Probably got this one here too, I certainly do. Okay, the seam on this one I want to be up inside the top there. Alright, and now let's peel it. Fixes that up nice. And I should be able to peel these fine. Yep, and they're fine. So now what I want to do is hit Control A, rescale them all, pack them all in. Now the thing that I want to do though for sure on this one is take the lenses and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack one lens and then I'm going to pack the other lens because I want these to be full screen because they're going to take on a full reflection. Okay, so with that done, boom, out of the way. Alright, and now the last thing, oh, unhide all, actually, nope, this one's got to be done, shouldn't be that big of a deal. Let's isolate it, show a checker, okay, checker's broke, so let's just cylindrically unwrap. I wish I could grab right there. It's like the one spot you can't grab and it's like the biggest piece of gray. Okay, peel it. Looking good. This is gonna be a little weird. Okay, I just pretty much need to detach that and then peel it. Should be fine. This, I can try peeling it, but I don't think it's going to work very well. But it'll probably work a lot better if I cut it in half and then cut it in half again, like that. Okay. I mean, it really doesn't make too much of a difference. It's such a small piece, it's not going to be that big of a deal, so just do and move it out of the way. Notice I'm probably, like where I've moved all my pieces is probably going to overlap with some of them, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so collapse 2 on that guy. Last but not least, just make sure I got no face down there, which I don't. Because I'm going to want this to actually have some resolution on it. And the reason is because I want to be able to put a dot on here. I might actually, instead of doing that, let me do a little bit of additional modeling in here. Kind of thinking of doing that. And then what I'll do is I'll take this section and I'll collapse that so that way I can make just this one face right here. I can make that like red or white or something. And maybe just for, I know I'm all zoomed in, let me zoom out just a little bit there like that. And we'll do something like that. You know, I mean, whatever. There's a billion designs of these things. Doesn't make a difference. Okay, let's isolate. Unwrap. Open the UV editor. Let's do the flatten mapping ideology. And I'm going to have to do it like that. Okay, this one I'm going to detach and add that to there. It's kind of hard because my scale's a little broke here. It's going to be pretty hard to do anything further than that. So I'll just stitch that together. There's a piece here. Can I move that? Yeah. Okay, there's nothing. I might as well do it to here, stopping me from doing that, and then take that and that and stitch those. Alright, let's resize, pack them together, move it out of the way, collapse 2. Okay, now I'll do this in the next one, and I'm not going to do the bullet. I gotta end this video. I'm at an hour and a half. It's too long. I know that it's way too long. I honestly could have. Let's just go ahead and hide that. Hide selection. Okay, what I want to do real quick is just create a bit of a test material. This should be fast. Just hit the diffuse on a new material and pick the checker pattern. And what I want to do is about 50-50 tiling here, and I don't want black and white because my eyes will explode. We'll go with blue, desaturate it, and we'll darken this like so. Okay, and I'll drag this here as a copy, and all I got to do is lighten that up just a little bit. Okay, select everything and apply it and make sure I can see it. Okay, 50-50 is probably too much, so let's just go 20-20. Now, all my sizes between all my objects are completely different. Just completely different. But in and amongst themselves, they're okay. Okay, so once they're all scaled together, I should be fine. I should be fine. I'm just looking for any blatant, like, major league screw-ups. And for if you want to see what a major league screw-up would look like, oops. Ah, dang it. It would look like this. Okay, while it's not horrible, that I can't paint on that. I need to be able to paint the primer and the logo and the caliber and all that stuff on there. So this is what I mean. That's why I didn't do the bullet, because I wanted to show you guys like the kind of thing that you want to look out for when you're checking in the end. Is just, you know, that checker pattern doesn't look like a checker everywhere. It's messed up in parts. So okay, just don't ever show that again because you're pissing me off. And then we'll hide selection here, and we are darn near ready to paint. Now just the last thing I'm going to show you guys is the fact that you can in fact show all of your stuff in one unwrap, but what happens is this right here doesn't know what to do between the different objects. It just doesn't, because they're all different, you know. It doesn't know if it wants to do the size here or the size on the models, because the models are all different, even if they are collapsed transforms. So just showing you guys that, and in the next one I'm going to show a little bit of me organizing the unwrap, because I don't want to go too crazy with that, and I'll show you guys what I'm going to do. So thanks for watching, and hit pause, signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next one.